Well, a brother and sister made news when she decided to get married, and he decided to bring a llama as his date. That's right, a llama. Mendel Weinstock explained that years prior, his sister Reva was talking about what it would be like to get married one day, and he told her, "If you make me come to that wedding, I'm going to bring a llama with me." And 5 years later, he set off the llama drama on her wedding day. Weinstock posted a picture on Reddit of the three of them, his sister seeming to be quite unamused. Reva actually said, "At some point I had to accept it and decide that it was easier to get in on the joke than to fight it." I guess she finally just said, "No problema." Yeah. Well, the lovely bride said she is planning sweet revenge and stated that her brother, quote, should sleep with one eye open. Now, I'm sitting here thinking, Llama Mia, here we go again. And speaking of weddings, in Shanghai, China, a man was arrested for trying to steal a Bluetooth speaker worth $285. He told the police he didn't really want the speaker, he just wanted to get away from his nagging girlfriend. He said that she had been pushing him very hard to marry her. So when he saw a sign next to the speaker warning of the consequences of theft, it gave him a brainstorm. If he could just land himself in jail, she couldn't annoy him constantly. This may be the first time in history that a petty thief ever begged for solitary confinement.
Oh, Governor, that guy's story reminds me of the fiance. You may have heard about that, whose girlfriend said, "Now, when we're married, I want to share all your troubles and worries." Oh. He said, "But I don't have any troubles and worries." Well, you know what she replied?
No.
"I know, but we're not married yet."
That might even be funny if it weren't true, Keith. By the way, I'm not sure about that, but when my doctor told me I needed to raise my heart rate and break a sweat every day, I told him, "Hey, no problem. I'll just start lying to my wife."
Ooh, danger, danger.
And by the way, if any of you men out there are considering trying this, I'm going to warn you, this guy's idea backfired, this guy over in China. The police did arrest him, but I hear that his girlfriend visits him every day to nag him to make her a personalized license plate. He's in jail, you know, you get that? Okay. Sounds like if he ever marries her, she'll always outvote him 1-to-1. Yep. Dateline, Roxborough, North Carolina, an assisted living center resident, Miss Ruth Bryant, was celebrating her 100th birthday when police arrived, approached her with handcuffs and asked, "Are you Miss Bryant?" "It all depends on what you want," Bryant replied. The officer said, "Here's what I want. I want you." He then said she was wanted on indecent exposure charges. Now, no offense, but didn't you think the officer might have said, "Nothing to see here, folks, just move along"? Hey, they got that one. Okay, this whole thing was done as a birthday gift to Miss Bryant, who had always wondered what it would be like to go to jail. So the officer handcuffed Bryant to her walker and placed her in a patrol car. Pretending to put up a fight, she playfully kicked the officers. I don't know why, but this reminded me of a friend who went to see his mom last week. He said something was really bothering her, and when he asked what was wrong, his elderly mom said, "What's all this news on the television about banning baking products?" He smiled and said, "Oh, don't worry, Mom, that's vaping products." So, back to the story about Ms. Bryant. When they arrived at the police station, Bryant was placed in a jail cell for a couple of minutes and then given her own orange jumpsuit as a keepsake. She said, "I'm in the jailhouse now. I finally got here," Bryant declared, before returning to her assisted living center for her birthday party, where she spent a significant amount of time blowing out 100 candles on her cake. Well, a driver was going down a forest road near Castle Rock, Washington, and spotted an unexpected road hazard. really unexpected. A 600-pound sea lion had somehow journeyed from his home waters onto the roadway. Perhaps he wanted to see the world or go to SeaWorld, not sure which. Now, you know, sea lions can actually run and swim faster than humans, which means if you ever compete against one in the triathlon, you really ought to make up the time on the cycling. Now, local deputies and animal control officers were struggling on how could they remove the sea lion. And I'm not lying. I said I'm not lying. They finally chose plywood boards to guide the giant sea lion into a trailer, but they said that he was snapping and barking at them the whole time, but they were finally able to safely return him to the Columbia River.
Well, Governor.
Yeah, Keith?
Do you remember that story I told you about the British ship RMS Sea Lion that was sinking in the North Sea, and they sent out a distress call that was picked up by the German Coast Guard?
Yeah?
Now, the British ship radioed, "We are taking on water and we are sinking." Then the Germans radioed back, "Well, what are you thinking about?"
I'm not sure that joke is politically correct, but I know you're not right, partner. I know that. By the way, speaking of wild javelinas, weren't we somewhere along the way?
Yeah.
You know, the animal that kind of looks like a pig but isn't a pig and lives in the American Southwest. I'm talking about the one that eats lizards and birds and rubs their rumps on rocks and trees to mark their territories. Yeah, those javelinas. Well, last week, one took to the streets of Tucson, Arizona, and created a viral sensation on social media. Someone caught this sprint through the neighborhood, and people all over the Twitterverse decided to add their own soundtracks with some fun results. Here's a little montage. Well, we thought those were all pretty good, but we needed to add one more.
Tonight on Huckabee, it's the Tucson Javelina.
I'm sure Trey never realized he'd be playing for a running javelina. By the way, that show with the javelina will also feature the pigeons that wear sombreros and cowboy hats in Vegas. I know you don't want to miss that episode. Well, before we go, I want you to consider this question. Did Noah include a pair of termites on the ark? Chew on that a while. And never forget, we read the news